I'm starting the recording now. I don't know. ये पहले बोलता नहीं था. Some setting had changed and now it started talking. Recording had changed. Started. अच्छा है. So, okay, 28 of you are here. So about half of people have gone now. This is a good number. This is what we can expect from the students. ऐसा 50 आ जाता है तो मुझे भी लगता है कि मैं डर जाता हूँ इतना कैसे. We have covered first two chapters and now we will try to finish this book. Probably, hopefully, if we can, we will try to go into class 8th NCERT too. I'm trying to finish all these things as soon as possible. And chalo, बकवास कम, काम ज़्यादा. If anybody has anything to ask in whatever I've taught, state governments. We have learned about local governments, now state governments, how these governments work. Who are MLAs you are voting for? Most of you are eligible voter, and who are ministers. So we will go into a bit deep into this. Who is an MLA? See, all of you must have at least heard about CM. There is a post called CM. CM is the political head of the state. That CM is elected by MLAs or selected by MLAs. A district is divided into assembly constituencies. Every state is divided into constituencies. These constituencies are divided on the basis of population. So each constituency will have equal number of people. From each constituency, one MLA will be elected. This MLA is a member of legislative assembly. Legislative means something related to law. So those who assembly where laws are created, that is legislative assembly. And if someone is member of that legislative assembly, means he takes part into the creation of laws. So electing your MLAs basically for the purpose of making laws. What happens that just take the example of Jammu and take the example of Himachal Pradesh. This is the map of Himachal Pradesh, and you can see that all these numbers represent one constituency. So there are 68 MLA constituencies in Himachal Pradesh. This is just for an example. You can see that some constituencies are very big, like constituency 21 in area. It seems like almost half of the whole Himachal Pradesh. This is why, because in this area, this must be a forest land. If you will go and check on the map, this is the mountainous forestry region where the number of people is very less. That's why more area has to be covered to get equal number of people. In the center of the Himachal Pradesh, you will see in these districts, Simla and all, where in the capital regions where most of the people are living, the constituencies are very small area wise, but number wise they are almost equivalent to all others. So in Himachal Pradesh, what happened? An election will be held in all the constituencies at a time. In 2017, such an election has happened, and in that BJP won 44 seats, Indian National Congress won 21 seats, Indian Communist Party of India, Marxist, won 1 seat, and And independents, those who do not have fought from or do not have been supported by any party, they are called independents. So they want 2 seats, total 68 seats. Now here you can see clearly that BJP won 44 seats. So the rule is that in legislative assembly, whosoever will get the majority is considered as 50% plus 1. So whosoever will get this majority magic number, also you must have heard in newspapers also, magic number. So whosoever will get this number of vote, they will become a majority party and they will form the government. So here it's very clear, the total number is 68. So to create a government, you need 34 plus 1, half of 68 plus 1. So if you have 35 MLAs, any party, if they can have 35 MLAs, they can form a government. So here BJP comfortably created a government. MLAs belonging to ruling party will elect their leader, who will become the chief minister. Now, once these MLAs are elected, all these 44 MLAs of BJP, they will elect a leader among themselves. They will elect a leader among themselves. Okay, so they will elect a leader among themselves, and he will become CM. या एक लीडर चुनेंगे, उसको हम लोग CM बोलेंगे. Now, just giving you a glimpse, if you are following the news, in West Bengal, there was elections and Trinamool Congress, TMC as it's called, or All India Trinamool Congress, the full name is, Trinamool Congress won the elections. But their CM candidate, the main person, the leader in the party, Mamata Banerjee, lost the election. What will happen in this case? This is a conundrum. This is a paradoxical situation. Our constitution says that anybody can be CM for 6 months if they have the support of majority of the people. If these 44 people will support anyone, they can make me a CM if they want, if they support. But within 6 months, that very person who has been given the job of CM or elected as a leader, so leader can be anyone. Do you understand? Leader do not need to be someone from this 44 people. Leader can be anyone. As I said, leader among themselves, that's a wrong expression. They can elect their leader, anyone. He will be the CM. But in 6 months' time, he or she, whosoever they have to again become a member of parliament, sorry, member of legislative assembly. They have to win. So what will happen in West Bengal, that Mamata Banerjee has lost but some of now you have in yesterday news, it was in the newspaper that one member of her party has resigned from a particular seat, Bishnupur. In Bishnupur, now since he has resigned, there will be re-elections. As per Election Commission's rules, no seat can be left vacant for more than 6 years. sorry, 6 months. So there must be a election within 6 months. Now Mamta Banerjee will fight from his seat, and since she is a famous candidate, and that seat has already won by her party, so it's a safe seat. She will win from here and continue acting as a CM like she is working. So, and when the situation, like in normal circumstances, everything is same. Actually, this is not something which will be happening for the first time. Those who are from UP, they will remember that when Akhilesh Yadav was CM, Yadav was made CM. He was a member of parliament. He was not an MLA, but he resigned from there and became a CM. But the route he adopted is a different mechanism. That also you should understand. What Akhilesh Yadav did, or what our Yogi beloved, I should add, Reverend, क्या बोलते हैं? Reverend Yogi Adityanath, how he became CM of UP. He was also a member of parliament. He is not an MLA. Even those from Tamil Nadu, they will remember that Jayalalitha was not an MLA, she was an MP. What are the routes adopted by many of the people? So what's happened in UP, as you will see in many states, it's not in not all states, in many states we have a another mechanism, another parallel body called MLCs, member of sorry, not MLCs, Legislative Council, and the members of these legislative councils are called MLCs, member of legislative councils. The elections to this body is not a direct election or non-direct, indirect elections. Means people do not directly vote for them. So any party can get their members easily elected into MLCs. So Akhilesh Yadav became a MLC and become CM. So both an MLA or an MP can be a CM, where there is the system of MLCs. But in West Bengal, there is no legislative council as of yet. So Mamta Banerjee cannot go from legislative council. So this is how it works. Now, this is a very innocent looking statement, but you might get this wrong in the exam. So pay attention. It is the governor of the state who appoints the chief minister and other ministers. Chief minister is appointed by whom? By the governor. So the Aditya is having some problem with English. I'm trying to be as simple as I can. There are people from South India, so what they will start saying, if I will say something in Hindi, उनको लगेगा, they will think that I have said something important. And so anyway, if I'm saying something in Hindi, the friends from South India, yes, you should understand that I have already said that English and then I am saying it in Hindi. So I'm not missing anything important, right? If you're missing something, then I will tell you, okay, that I'm not going to say in English. Anyway, so what I was saying that so legislative assembly is a place where all the MLAs, whether from the ruling party or from the opposition, meet to discuss various things. Members of in legislative assembly, not just the ruling party will be sitting, both all the MLAs from whatsoever party they are, they will meet there to discuss various things. Now, what are the things that these MLAs discuss? It's saying that MLAs have dual responsibilities. This is very important. This is a special feature of Indian polity, dual responsibility. See, why you are electing MLAs? You are electing them to create laws. They are member of legislative assemblies, but they also act as a minister. You must have seen that in most of the states this comes in news कि कोई नेता था वो उसको मिनिस्टर का सीट नहीं मिला, that's why he resigned. If some leader is not getting, some MLA is not getting the seat of a minister, he will resign or quit the party or switch the party or do something which is not, he should not be doing, because these are the ministers are the actual in charge of doing everything. They are also called a part of executive. We will read more about executive in detail. So the ministers are actually the part of executive. So all the power that you know, where the road should be constructed, where the hospital should be constructed, what should be the defense budget, what should be the finance budget, all these things are done by the ministers. So all the MLAs, BJP has 44 MLAs in, let's suppose, Himachal. So all of them that cannot become minister. There is a fixed quota, fixed number, fixed ceiling put by the constitution that only these many people can become a minister. So there is a fight between even these people. Like if even if you are making it to the list of UPSC, and if you're not getting IAS and IPS services, at least you're not satisfied, because they are the actual persons who are doing the things. The rest others are just there for list में रहने के लिए है. They do certain things, they have their own benefits, but that sense of not getting the missing IAS officer by a mark or two will always be haunting you. Many of my friends are in different kind of services. Recently, I had a Insta live with Abhinav Saxena. He's IAS, yes, IAS, sorry, IAS, Information Services. So although on social media platforms, these people will feel very happy that okay, I am in the list. Ask them personally, and they say, "Yeah, if I would have done little more, IAS ho jate yaar. Nobody is asking me now. I'm sitting there in some office and actually can't do anything for the people or for myself." So the similar situation is here with the MLAs. They have been elected, but if I'm not getting the ministerial post, all they can do is make laws. And nobody is interested in making laws, because for making laws, you have to read a lot. You have to have that idea that how laws are made. You have to have that debating skills. And even these laws will be proposed most of the time by these ministers. All they can do is either support the bill or reject the bill, oppose the bill. And since they are from the ruling party, they cannot even oppose the bill. So all they have to say कि minister साहब ने जो कहा बहुत अच्छा है, ताली बजाओ. They will be just clapping what these ministers are doing on them. So everybody is in the race. If you think you are very far behind, there are many people who are behind, and you will be. If you will see ahead, there are many people who are ahead of you. When MLAs are unsatisfied, even IAS are unsatisfied. So okay, वो थोड़ा philosophical that's हो गया. MLAs, two dual responsibility. One as legislature, creating laws. Other is as minister, making or getting the things done, executive. So the main purpose of legislative assemblies is to debate. Understand this. People take it very lightly, and even MLAs do not understand the actual power of debating in the legislative assembly. It's not your school debate. The debates that happen in legislative assemblies or in parliament, they carry a lot of weight. We will see that, okay, many people are asking. Mahesh is asking, can a person become a minister without having any MLA or MLC recognition? Yes, right. If somebody can become a CM, he can very well become a minister. But the same condition applies here. That within 6 months, he has to get elected from, if there are two houses, either he has to be an MLA or MLC. And if there is no legislative councils like in West Bengal, so he has to get elected as a MLA. Okay, so debate in legislative assembly. If we will see a live session of any legislative assembly or parliament, people are supposed to debate and discuss upon there. There is a special session in the legislative assembly called question hour. In this question hour, these legislatures can ask questions. They can, let me show you the syllabus, then you can relate it in a better manner, I suppose. Structure, organization, and functioning of executive, judiciary, department, government of department. Parliament and state legislatures. Functioning, conduct of business, powers and privilege, and issue arising out of these. Right. So this is direct topic in your syllabus. What you have to read about the state legislature? You have to read the functioning of state legislature. You have to read about the conduct of business, that how the state legislature works. Then you have to read power and privileges. What kind of powers these MLAs and MPs enjoy, and issues arising out of these. Issues arising out of these means what are the challenges? Why they are not able to function properly? Or what changes can we bring? So returning back to the topic, just to emphasize that this is very important. See, a debate here has been given how people are debating in the house. One member will say something, then somebody will oppose that, then another will say something, then the next person will oppose that. And after all the discussion, the minister who has proposed the law, he is either supposed to accept these changes which members are suggesting or reject. He has to at least give a reply to all of them, that's why I am doing. Okay, wait a minute. With the connection, I think. The voice issue with everyone, or few people are facing that? My voice is clear to all. See, there is a system of do not guys, do not unmute yourself. I have to take this. Okay. Now it's clear. Okay. Okay, good. So we will see here that in our constitution there is a system of check and balances. Check and balance. Although we were going to read it in much detail in the later chapters, here you should understand that ministers are part of executive. They get the things done. The other part of the government is legislature. They are making the law. And the third arm is called judiciary. And you will see that all of them keep checking each other's balances, keep checking each other's powers, so that nobody will do something which is against the people, against the democracy. So if the minister is making some law which is not in favor of the people, the legislatures are supposed to ask the questions to them in the legislative assembly. If the executive is supposed to create a road in some area, and then the minister, the MLA of that very area, can ask the question to this executive, the minister, that why that road has not built in my area yet. अभी तक रोड क्यों नहीं बनवाया? ये वो MLA उससे पूछ सकता है. And if you and me will ask that question to the MLA, it will not have that much power. ठीक है यार, आप इसको उठा के फेंक दो बाहर. But if the MLA is asking that question, and especially if in the legislative assembly, the executive is bound to reply him. He cannot say कि आज मेरा मन नहीं है जवाब देने का. He cannot say I will not reply you today. He has to reply there. This reply can be either in form of a written letter or oral reply, but he has to reply. So legislatures we understood, and executive we understood. So chief minister is called head of the executive. And whenever we are referring to the government, like we are in the midst of a pandemic, and you have been hearing this again and again, that government has failed. Government is not properly working. So what do you mean by the government? Who is not working? As I said to you, when you talk in terms of the state, you are referring to the ministers and their various departments. Ministers and their various, like if something is related to health and you are saying government is not working, you are referring that health minister is not working. And since CM is the head of all these departments, all these ministers, CM is not working. In the similar fashion, if you are saying that government is not working, you are referring the government at the center is not working, then you are saying that prime minister and their ministers are not working. Right? This is what government means. Now, working of the government. See, legislative assembly, as I told you, it is there to check the executives, but it's not the only place. Newspapers, TV channels, and other organizations are also there who keep a check upon the government. वो भी नियंत्रण रखते हैं क्या what government is doing, what government is not doing. They are supposed to ask the questions. This pretty much sums up this chapter. You can, somebody has asked in the group that what we are supposed to read. Do we need to read all the book again or the highlighted portions? See, preferably you will read the book again. These are small books. Like you can read it. If you will see it for 4 or 5 hours, you can complete the whole book. And you can note down the points that I have highlighted in some notebook. You can note down the points that I am telling. You can create your own note with a mixture of what I am teaching, because I am giving many inputs which are not there in book. Especially in polity, you will find many such references because it's very current oriented. So I'm giving that. So you can uh, do that. Like one of the students, Jay is here. Jay, you are here or not? Yeah, Jay is here. So in the last class, I mentioned about Bhima Koregaon. I said you that you should go and read about it. I don't know how many of you read, but see, this is where the competition is going, right? If you are missing here, then you are missing for very long. He had created a very good note, he had spent some time on that and read that and sent me. I was very happy that somebody is taking what I'm saying at least seriously. Because I'm not here to bluff. मैं यहाँ भाषण देने नहीं आया हूँ, मैं बाबा नहीं हूँ, प्रवचन नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Whatever I'm saying, that has some value for this exam. So he has read that and created a very good note. I will share that with you also, all of you. कम से कम थोड़ा motivation मिलेगा कि at what level other people are preparing. You are sitting at your home and you are not getting that atmosphere. Even if you will go to Delhi serious institutes, hardly you will find that 5% people are serious. So even in your community group, wherever you are preparing, if you know a few people, you must be knowing that they are just preparing for the preparation sake. Karna hai preparation. So whatever I'm suggesting that go and read, at least try to do that. My chat box is open. My number is with you. I have got a few out of 60 students. I think I have got about 10 or 20 messages, less than 20. Although I have said in the orientation class that you can send your introductions to me. At least I will know that who I'm teaching to. It's not a Vajiram or Vijayan's class where 1,000 students are sitting and teacher do not know कि वो किसको पढ़ा रहा है. Today I got this idea that in this class, majority of you are at the level who do not even know that who the hell Trump is and what has he done. So when I will get this feedback, then only I guide you in the right path. नहीं तो मैं तो बहुत ऊपर जा. For me, this chapter is nothing, and I should not have. मुझे डिस्कस भी नहीं करना चाहिए था because most of you are in the voting age. सब वोट कर रहे हैं, सबको मालूम है कि सीएम का इलेक्शन कैसा होता है. So do not hide yourself and do not be lazy. So preferably go and read the whole book. You will get the language. More than anything, you will get an idea of expression. Likhna kaise hai. This exam is all about expressing yourself. You can clear the pre by mugging up the ideas. But in mains and in interviews, it's all about can you express yourself? Can you express the knowledge that you have at the back of your mind? If you cannot, then bhul jao. Forget it. So while reading these NCRTs, you will get some idea. When I'm teaching you in this one-to-one interaction, most of the things, the class is so fast-paced that you do not have the time to reflect back what I've said because I'm keep adding new information, new data. But when you will read it in your free time, you will take a pause if you will not understand anything. Then you can ask me back. Or you can ask anybody. You can do a Google search. अच्छा ये तो नहीं पता चला मुझे. I forget this. So reading is must. If any teacher is on YouTube, there is this craze of marathon. Come and read for 4 hours and whole geography, whole polity, khatam, whole social. So mind you are not a computer feed chip dalo or button click karo data transfer starts. You do not have the time to process that thing. That processing will happen only when if you will read. No matter how good a teacher is, For processing that thing, you have to go back and read and reflect on those things. There is no alternative of reading. Itna samajh lo. If you have joined this class for the purpose that okay sir will teach, then I do not have to read books, video lecture से काम हो जाएगा, then समझ में आ जाएगा तुमको सब कुछ, you will understand everything, but you will not be able to reproduce that. This is because this is my language. I know this. I know to express this, but you do not know how to express this. Just by hearing me out, you cannot express this. That will come from reading, where you take some time to process the things. I hope this is fairly clear. A very small question was there, but I took this opportunity to explain a lot of things. Anyway, gender. Everybody knows this. Nothing to explain here, but there are certain things. Can anybody explain me what is the difference between gender and sex? Yeah, Zohra, please. I'm unmuting you.
Sir, gender is a social term and sex is a biological term.
Social. Anything more you want to add into this? A little explanation? Because
No,
I don't
sir.
think this is of any help to the students. Give us some examples, something if you can.
Sir, gender is a social term that we use in our society, that we distinguish between the male and female, and the sex is a biological term which through which we distinguish the males and female.
At both places we are differentiating as male and female.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
Sir,
Science.
gender
Okay,
is
okay. I will explain. You were good at least at this point. Thank you for that. Size 3. Okay, some people are interested. Hina. Okay, let's take Hina on the line. Hina, you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Hina, you can unmute yourself.
I'm not.
You were audible, but you unmuting yourself, then muting yourself again. Soumya has a very good definition. Okay, Hina has some issue. I think Monica wants to say. Let's hear Monica.
So sex is determined or this inherited by birth, और gender में क्या होता है कि influenced होता है by social cultural behavior factors से.
Right, very good. By the way, what you are doing, Monica? I'm taking this opportunity to get introduced.
Sorry sir, I can't hear you.
What you are doing right now? Where is your preparation? At which level?
I am pursuing my post graduation.
Okay.
AmCom.
From?
AmCom.
From?
From SD College Ambala Kent.
Sorry?
SD College Ambala Kent, KUK University.
Okay, Ambala Kent.
Yes sir.
Okay, so Janvi is also trying to say something. Let's hear Janvi out, and then I will explain. अच्छा है, थोड़ा interactive होना
Hi,
चाहिए.
sir. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Sex and gender, it can be interchanged in different meanings. So, sex is used in a biological term where, the sex of the humans and animals can be determined through that. Like in biological, you ask animal whether it's male or female. So, it is basically it is differentiated by sex. But when it comes to gender, it is a social constructions where the behavior of a person, I mean, the male behaves like this, or female. So social behavior is considered as a gender. So this is the difference, what I know. Thank you.
So most of you are very accurate to the point, and so there are now many comments here. Ashraf is saying, sir, gender refers to behavioral roles and activities, while gender refers to biological and psychological characteristics. Hina is saying that sex remains the same regardless of time and culture. Gender role expectations may differ across time and culture. Very good. Like most of you have said the things. I mean, I was not going to explain it in that much detail, at least for this class. But okay, so good enlightening discussion. I'm just summing up that for all of you. जिनको नहीं भी समझ में आया, से देखो, sex is a biological thing. It's very correct. Biological means the what kind of reproductive organs do you have? That will define your sex. Okay, so this can be of many types. Even this can be of many types. It's not just male and female here. There is a whole community of LGBTQ. So not all, so transgenders are mainly, you can consider them as a different sex because they have different kind of reproductive organs. So there's a lot of biological diversity as well. And this is actually a very serious issue. If you feel ashamed about discussing this, then you should reconsider your position, because the issue of LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders, and queers, this has gained a lot of concurrency. There's a lot of debate about that what kind of rights should be given to them, what should not be given to them. And as a future bureaucrat, as a future leader, you have to answer questions on these lines again and again. That's what your opinion about this kind of relationships are. Even in interviews, you can go ask, what do you think about a lesbian relationship? What do you think about a gay relationship? Even people like Mohan Bhagwat has to answer such questions on public platforms. So now you can not run away from this discussion. And we will have this discussion later. But today we are focused on sex and gender. So sex is a biological thing, what kind of reproductive organs you have. Gender is a social construct, like rightly said by someone, that this is something that you have by birth. Or then you can also have a sex transformation also, and based upon that your sex can change. But gender is a construct, social construct. That means society let you know that you are a male or a female, and if you are belonging to some category, you should act in this very way. तुमको कैसे काम करना है ये तुमको सोसाइटी बताती है. I am a male, so I am wearing a shirt. If I would be wearing a घाघरा चोली, तुम पढ़ने नहीं आते तो मास्टर का दिमाग खराब हो गया है. Because that is what socially accepted behavior of a male gender. So that is social. It has nothing to do with my sex, my birth. So we will discuss more about this and about the process of socialization. Let's start this chapter. This is a very good example has been given here. This will clear your lot of doubts about growing up in Samoa. Samoa is an island in Pacific Ocean, southern part of Pacific Ocean. In that island, the society is very different from ours. When young children here are asked to take care of the babies. So if you are 5 years, 6 years old, you are taking care of 1 year, 2 year olds babies in the family. That's your main work. So take care of children. And these things are actually taught to these small children, both boys and girls. When they will become a little young, the male guys, they will go out and start fishing, learning fishing and something, and females will continue their caregiving works. But girls had to continue looking after small children, do errands for the adults till they were teenagers. But then they will become teenagers. Surprisingly, in their kitchens, you will see that it's the duty of the boys to cook the food, and girls are supposed just to help them. Quite contradictory to what we perceive. हमारे यहाँ तो खाना बनाना मम्मी का काम है. Cooking food is women's job. But there, in cooking house, boys will be cooking, girls will be helping. There is also a story. You can compare this with that with India, MP. You will see that girls are not allowed to go on the street. Boys are, if few girls are standing on the street, let's suppose, and they are doing nothing. This is a very rare situation to find out. You will not find such scenarios commonly in even cities. Just without any purpose, girls sitting on, standing on streets. But for boys, it's very common because that's how we have grown up. Why this has happened? This is called the process of socialization. Okay. This is called process of socialization. How the gender roles have been taught to you. Like when children are small, girls are given dolls to play with, and boys are given car or such other toys to play with. So creating a different of birth. Slowly they practices. This is called process of socialization. The girls will get dressed in a different way. Boys will get dressed in a different way. They will play different games. In most societies, including ours, the roles men and women play or work they do not are not valued equally. From here starts the discrimination. You understand what gender is, but genderification can lead to discrimination. How it is perceived as that the works which are done by the male are valuable, but women, the work which women are doing, they do not have any value. So although your mother is working 24 into 7 in your house, the father is considered as the working person and mother is housewife, not working, because the work she is doing has no value. And that has happened because of this genderification, creation of genders, participation of division of works. Men should do this, women should do that. It's a cartoon, you can read it if you want. So how this difference has been created, this gender has led to the discrimination, as women has, it's been thought that women are made, they're manufactured by the god to give caregiving services. By default they are caring. Girl, women is there, so women will be caring. So they kind of, it said that they love to give care. Nobody said that how much pain she is going through to provide you the care, how much hard work she has to go through to give you the care, but the idea is that they enjoyed doing that. So how many of you in this group, the women I'm asking, the girls, who enjoy doing this? Hina, you have raised your hand currently, or it's for? Okay. You're right. No, enjoy, but you have to go through a lot of pain, a lot of work to do that. No? So everybody want recognition. Recognition is a different thing. You want to be recognized as someone who cares for people. You think that caring is a good thing. That's why you should care as a human being. Many of boys also will like that, but labeled as something that it's a machine manufactured for giving care. You will see nurses are women, teachers are women, and such. So this is a segregation of women into caregiving services. And this, even if it's true that women are good at giving service, sorry, good at giving caregiving services, their value is very less. The salary of a nurse, salary of a, so housewives to free here, but other people who, or other women who are giving services, there's no value in that. Lives of domestic workers, you can relate. If someone is doing the same work in your house, your mother, your sister, it's a free work, and you can hire someone for do the same work, she can be paid. But even that payment is very low because that is not considered as an essential service. वो तो कोई भी कर सकता है. There are some stats here, and you should use these stats while writing answers regarding gender. The work women do is strenuous and physically demanding. Actually, all the work that women are doing in the house, it's not simple work. But they're not weaving the sweater. They're doing actual physically strenuous works. And still we say that men are supposed to be possessing a lot of muscle and doing all the physical work. It's a paradox, irony. We find that women spend much more time working than men and have much less time for leisure. Although they are not paid, but they spend much more time working. So in sociology, you will hear terms like double burden. Double burden is, even if someone is a working woman, she will be working in her office, and then when she will come home, she will again be expected to give all the services that a normal non-working women provide. So double burden on women. Going forward, some sociologists have even suggested triple burden. You say they work in office, they work at home, they also provide emotional support. So triple burden. दिल टूट गया किसी का, माँ आके समझाएगी बेटा परेशान मत हो. किसी का झगड़ा हो गया बेस्ट फ्रेंड से, तो माँ आके समझाएगी बेटी परेशान मत हो. Wife will help you out, that everything will be good, don't worry much. So that emotional service is also provided by the women, but nobody actually recognizes that. Anyway, that's for sociology students. State. Here you have some stats about women paid work and women unpaid work. You can see in Haryana, 23 hours per week are spent by women in paid works, and in Tamil Nadu, 19%. Now, this may, at first glance, ये थोड़ा सा ये अजीब लग रहा होगा. This might seem a little confusing. Why in Haryana, where literacy rate is less, number of women is less, women are doing more paid work than educated, developed state like Tamil Nadu. Anybody want to explain this? हरियाणा में क्यों औरतें ज्यादा काम कर रही हैं और तमिलनाडु में कम, स्पेशली पेड वर्क, और अनपेड वर्क में भी उल्टा है. हरियाणा, तमिलनाडु में दे आर डूइंग मच मोर अनपेड वर्क देन हरियाणा. Anybody try to come up with some explanation? हरियाणा वालों, तमिलनाडु वालों, who is from Tamil Nadu? Anyone from Tamil Nadu? No one from Tamil Nadu. Huh? Trivedi, you are in Tamil Nadu or you are from Tamil Nadu? Because Trivedi to it's the title people use in South, North India. And the name Hilai is also. Nivitha is from Tamil Nadu and some other people are okay. Got it. Okay, you raise your hand to answer the question. Okay, I am unmuting you. कहाँ चले गए? Hilai Trivedi, you can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So according to me, in Haryana, the people are more employed in the agriculture side. So the women have to work more in the farms. Okay.
Good.
Or in opposed to that, in Tamil Nadu, there are not that much population which are working in the farms, or there are join in the agriculture sectors. So if we consider that aspect, that we can say that yeah, in Haryana the woman works more in the farm. So that's why the work hours are more in Haryana.
Good, good. Fairly decent explanation. I will add some point here. You should consider this whenever you are writing anything about gender issues or women. So women, why this topic is more important again? Let me show you the syllabus. Syllabus दिखाने से थोड़ा सा तुम लोग conscious हो जाते हो. It's not. You have a topic in GS paper 1, especially role of women and women's organization. Okay. Then again, in come to this paper, GS paper 2, here we have to read welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population. Women are one of the most vulnerable sections in India. So again, we have to read about them in both paper 1 and 2. So अब आते हैं इस पे. And I said you in essay you will always be getting one issue from this. A layman understanding is that educate women and they will, if education will increase in this way, education is increasing, so their employment will also increase. They will become much more employable. But it doesn't work like this. In Indian context, we have seen that as the education starts to increase, the employment will start to decrease, and slowly when education will become very high, when you are a BTech, a doctor, engineer, then again your employability will start increasing. Now this is very peculiar phenomena in India, and there are many explanations for that. As some of you said that in Haryana many women are working in the field. Why? Because they are not educated. So they are working in the field. They do not have anything else to do. But as soon as you are educated a bit more, you will not go into the field. मैं पढ़ी लिखी हूँ, why should I do any work in the field? Similarly, one other factor is if you are educated, if you are in this bracket, the probability is very high that you are from a middle class family. I thought you were double button. So you are from middle class family. In middle class family, now the things are changing, but especially even today in lower middle class family, in conservative families, girls are supposed not to work. Even if they are working after marriage, there will be a lot of pressure to quit your work, do something else. मैं कमा रहा हूँ, तुम क्यों कमाओगे? The male ego and so many other issues are there. So in middle class families, you will see again that the employability decrease because there are no good jobs. Good jobs means something matching to their status. If okay, when middle class family will agree, if you got a teacher's job, okay. If you can become IAS officer, तब तो बहुत बढ़िया है. But if you can become a teacher, professor, doctor, engineer in good places, so they will probably allow, but not allowed in. Similarly, just as this income will rise even in higher families. This phenomena is even in upper class families. But when the education will become very high, then nobody can stop them. They have to work. बाकी करेंगे क्या? PhD कर लिया, डॉक्टर की डिग्री ले ली, इंजीनियर IIT से इंजीनियर है, तो most probably she will be employed in some way or other. So that's the reason here. Okay, Haryana is higher paid work. Women's work and equality. As I said, Constitution says that there should not be any discrimination based on gender, but we have various kinds of discrimination. Discriminations in wage gap for the same kind of. So a movie is being made. Salman Khan is taking, Rajnikant is taking so much money, and in a position, बेचारी एक तो वो 21 साल की लड़की 50 साल के लड़के के साथ मूवी बना रही है और उसको पैसा भी कम मिल रहा है. Similar situation is everywhere. So actresses are paid less than the actors. Hero is being paid more than heroine. All the informal sectors at least. If you want to avoid this, then nobody will say कि तुमको ज़्यादा या कम मिलेगा. And so, as I told, there is a wage gap, and there is also segregation of work. So women can do even only certain kinds of works. This next chapter is just a continuation of what we have read. As I told, you need some people to break the stereotypes who can confront everyone. Okay, Janvi is from Kannada film industry, and someone is giving an example of cricket. That's a very good example actually. उससे भी अच्छा एग्जांपल है, मतलब क्रिकेट तो है इंडिया में. अ ग्लोबल एग्जांपल इज टेनिस. Go and check the prize money for male Wimbledon and female Wimbledon. बहुत अंतर है. And ऊपर से the way in which female tennis is presented. Okay, so breaking the stereotypes. This is Lakshmi Lakra from Jharkhand. At the age of 27-year-old, she became the first female women train driver. At that time, it was kind of a job specifically reserved for males. Nobody would have dared to enter into this field, but she took the challenge and became a train driver. We need many such people. Exactly, that's what we are. That's what we are reading now. Breaking the stereotype. Somebody has to fight for that. I will not work for less. I think there has been many incidents in Bollywood industry as far as I'm aware. I'm not very up to date in this field, but as far as I'm aware, many actresses have now started asking equal pay. If you will pay me equally, then the equal the male part only then I will act. Otherwise, I will not. So somebody has to take the stand. But that stand will only come when first is you have the trust, confidence in yourself. You value your respect. You have the self respect. And again, go back to Ambedkar. Self respect will come when you will find. So it's a circle. Fight and gain self respect and fight for your self respect. This chapter is actually very, very good. You should go and read this chapter in as much detail as you can because there's some very nice examples here. In the middle of class, you guys are texting me on WhatsApp. Focus on what I am teaching. Class class 6, chapter 8 and 9 are not important. They are just teaching about the livelihood of रूरल एंड अर्बन एरियाज. गांव में लोग क्या करते हैं, अर्बन एरियाज में लोग क्या करते हैं. सो आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू हैव द फेयरली डिसेंट आइडिया कि गांव में क्या होता है, शहर में क्या होता है. देयर इज नथिंग factual important thing that you need to remember from those chapters. So I skipped that. Ramabai. I was saying this chapter is very important because you will come to know about many women personalities who have done great work in the field of women empowerment. Again, going back to the topic, in Indian society, you have what the topic specifically is role of women. Role of women. So these are the women whose role you have to study. Ramabai, 1858, about 11 years older than Mahatma Gandhi. 1869, Mahatma Gandhi. 1858 is Ramabai. Or you can remember 1857, the first war of independence. After that, Ramabai came. Azadi ki first ladai ke baad she was there after the first war of independence, and that's why she was a fighter. What she did, she never went to school but learned to read and write from her parents. She was given the title of Pandit because she could read and write Sanskrit. So in prelims there can be a simple question, match the following. Pandit is title is associated with, and they will give 3-4 male names, and you will be confused कि Pandit women को they will probably not say, and you will mark it wrong. So Pandit title is given to Ramabai because he was well versed with Sanskrit, and she went on to set up a mission in Khedgaon near Pune in 1898, where widows and poor women were encouraged not only to become literate but independent. She was not just teaching them, she was teaching them to be independent. How? She was teaching them skills, and skills like running printing presses, skills like being a carpenters. The jobs we still do not think is possible to be done by the women. These are the women running a printing press. Even today, you will not find women in printing presses. You will find women as editors, you will find women as reporters, you will not find women in printing press because it's supposed to be a physical work. But she was doing that. Similar one more figure here is Ras Sundari Devi. She's even older than Pandit Ramabai, 1880 to 1890. She is from West Bengal. She has written a book called Amar Jivan. In Hindi, those who are must be reading, they will read it as. Anybody from West Bengal again? नहीं है ना, कल क्लास में नहीं था कोई, so nobody. So if you are a Bengali, you will know that you have to pronounce it like Amar Jivan, मतलब मेरा जीवन, my life. So this is a autobiography, not Amar Jivan. Is Hindi Amar is like immortal kind of things, not Amar Jivan, Amar Jivan. So it's an autobiography written by Ras Sundari Devi. Her fight was even more extreme than Pandit Ramabai, because Ramabai was in a elite family. They has a lot of wealth and money. Her parents were his parents taught him to read and write. But go back 60 years and then Ramabai, and you will see that Ras Sundari Devi has to self-taught her, hiding from everybody's eye that she is reading. Because at that time it was supposed that a learned woman who can read and write would bring bad luck to her husband and become a widow. If you will read, you will become a widow. Gajab logic hai. So they were shocked. The third personality is Rokia Shekhawat or Sakhawat Hussain. She is after Ramabai. So if you want to arrange, one more thing I'm telling you, just giving you information. In prelims, you will see that UPSC do not ask you the exact date of birth or any exact figure, exact date. हम जब history discuss करेंगे, that time I will also emphasize upon this. But UPSC prelims में they do not ask specific questions like when Pandit Ramabai was born, but they will ask you chronologies. What is chronology? Chronology is a sequence of events. So they can give you these three names and can ask you to arrange them into the correct order of their time period. So first one is Ras Sundari Devi from West Bengal. Second one is Pandit Ramabai. And the third one is Rokia Hussain. So all are from R, but different R's. Ramabai. No, first one is Ras Sundari Devi. पुराना नाम लग रहा है, it sounds like an old name, Ras Sundari Devi. So old name, oldest, then Pandit Ramabai, and then Rokia Shekhawat Hussain. She, at the age of 25 years, wrote the book called Sultana's Dream. She was also from an elite family, and although she knew how to read Urdu and she was taught how to read Urdu, she learned Bangla and English as well and wrote Sultana's Dream in English. Hila is saying that at some extent, this discrimination is a result of major population over minor population. If we take the overall consideration of the world population, there are 101.69 million males per 100 females. Even the gap is less in micro level. It becomes much more while considering world population. I don't get your argument. Somebody was raising hand. You will talk about it, Hila. जो भी कहना चाह रहे हो थोड़ा मुझे WhatsApp कर देना, then I will understand what you are saying. Then we can discuss this in the later classes. So, schooling and education today, you can see that women are hugely disadvantaged, and even more if the women belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. So as I said, one discrimination over one prejudice upon other. You can see some data here as it says that you have probably noticed that in the above table that SC and ST girls leave schools at a rate that is higher than the category all girls. So this is ST girls, SC, this is ST total. If you see here, girls are leaving school at 1.42, ST are leaving at the rate of 6.84, and overall girls are leaving 3.384. Means if 100 girls are taking admission, 3.88 girls are leaving school in the primary school itself. Overall, in SCs the number is higher, and STs is even higher. And as you go to the higher education, the numbers kept growing. So for this, in support of this, there has been many women's movement all through the world. What are these struggle movements? Women individually and collectively have struggled to bring out these changes. This struggle is known as women's movement. Okay, to bring, to provide equality, to bring equality to the women. The movement for the protest, the struggle for that is called women's movement. One example has been given here that Supreme Court has formulated in 1997 sexual harassment at workplace laws. This was the result of a prolonged fight by the women organizations to get a recognition that sexual harassments at workplace should be stopped. We'll read about those in much detail. For now, you can, you know about stereotype, you know about discrimination, you know about violations, breaking some laws, and you know about sexual harassment. The term has very deeper meaning. It's not just physical. Sexual harassment at workplace should not, it does not mean something physical. It also means verbal or behavioral. So showing some signs, cracking some jokes, that also means sexual harassment. थक गए? हाँ, now देखो यही एक last chapter है which we are going to discuss. So let us discuss this. This will end the session here, and this session will end. Nothing important in the next 3-4 chapters. Just 1-2 lines are there that we will cover in the next class. Media is a bit important. So when we say media, we mean all sources of media: radio, TV, newspaper, internet, and several other forms of communications. Other forms of communication means social media and such other things. Let's find out that where it is in our syllabus. This paper 3. These are the chapters of, you see here, you have to read technology. And you have to read internal security. In both of these, you will see here challenges to internal security through communication networks and role of media and social networking sites in security challenges. Okay, directly mention hai, but nobody reads because nobody reads the syllabus. It's directly written the role of media and social networking sites. So if anything is coming in the news about Twitter, about Facebook, about any other social networking site, it directly becomes a part of your syllabus. But तुमको समझ में नहीं आता है. So you have to focus on those areas. Let's return back to the topic. Understanding media. How does media work? You know about Gutenberg's printing the first sheet of Bible, Gutenberg's movement. You know about Renaissance. If you do not know, we will read about Renaissance, how this whole idea of printing changed the world completely. So if there is any movement which is truly a movement, that is the printing movement, printing revolution, which changed the world that we see today. Not going to talk about that in this class. We will read about that. We are currently focused upon the contemporary effects of media, the political angle of it. See, media and democracy. As you must have heard upteenth of times, that media is the fourth pillar of democracy. And there are many jokes on this too. So media today is not working as the fourth pillar. Some of the ways in which they can do this is by writing the letters to concerned ministers, organizing a public protest, start a signature campaign, asking the government to rethink its program. If citizens are not satisfied with what government is doing, so they can use the method of public protest, signature campaigns, or asking the government to rethink about what they are doing. And in this case, it becomes the duty of the media to report these things correctly to the people. Let's see, this is the two. I'm not going to read this. You can go and read it on your own time, but I'm giving you explanation. The same incident is covered by two newspapers. And let's see how they are biased about each other. What do you understand by reading this headline? Crackdown on polluting factories. Protesters block roads and disrupt traffic. पढ़ के ऐसा लग रहा है? The understanding that you are getting that these protesters are very bad people. They are blocking roads and disrupting the traffic. And government is very nice because this government is cracking down on polluting factories. Means cracking down means trying to stop, prevent, lock. So government is stopping this polluting factories. Okay? Now see, the same news has been reported by this. Closure of factories causes unrest. Closure of 1 lakh factories in the city's residential areas is likely to become a serious issue. 1 lakh factories have been closed. People have lost their job, and that's why they are protesting. But this newspaper clipping is making those protesters, presenting these protesters as villain and government as hero. So this is how you most of you have been following the farmers revolt, farmers movement, and you will be getting similar reports from the two media sources that you will be following. This actually takes a lot of time for the students to understand that all the media houses have their own stands. They have their own biases, and you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. Actually, I was very lucky to recognize this because I think I've said you in the orientation lecture itself. I am the person who likes to read. So no matter what it is. So from the very early age, as far as I remember, since from class 5th or 6th, I acquired this habit of reading newspapers. So at my house, Hindi newspaper. उस समय अंग्रेजी नहीं आता था, हिंदी आता था. So we were struggling with English. So I used to read one newspaper at my own house. हमारे यहाँ दैनिक जागरण आता था, तो मैं अपने यहाँ दैनिक जागरण पढ़ लेता था. I used to read दैनिक जागरण at my own house. And then there was a common newspaper for the locality, so that was Hindustan. So I will complete my own paper and run back and I will read the Hindustan. And I used to see at that time that news are presented in a different way. मैं उधर कुछ और पढ़ के आया, इधर कुछ और है. So I do not know when I heard this conversation between someone and the news vendor guy, that all the people who vote for BJP, that and that time I was very young, so I'm a 6 7 year old, 6 7 class student. So he said that all the people who vote for BJP, they buy Dainik Jagran. All the Congress or other party supporters are Hindustan subscribers. So just by seeing that, just by knowing that what channel someone is following, you can you can know their voting preference. If you like to see G News, there are high chances that you vote for BJP. If you if you are a follower of NDTV, then you can vote for everyone, but you will not for BJP. So this shows that we are also biased, and these media houses are also biased. This understanding, as soon as you will develop this understanding, उतनी जल्दी तुम IAS की लाइन पे सीधा हो जाओगे. You will start analyzing and understanding the things. You will not take everything which is said to you as it is. You will start understanding that there is something deeper motive behind this news. So many people are texting. Okay, so everybody is saying media is biased, and everybody kind of now know this. But I still feel very proud that I used to know this long back. जब मैं बच्चा था तभी मुझे पता था कि media is biased. Now people are discussing that media is biased. So media should present a balanced report. A balanced report is one that discusses all points of view of a particular story and that leaves it to the readers to make up their minds. Now see, this line is fairly simple. Why have I highlighted this? सबको पता है balance report, सबको fair reporting करो. But when you will go to write on the paper, na, if I will ask you to define balance report, you will not be able to. So that's why this is important. Use the language that you NCERT is using. Very simple language and able to convey the message. Censorship. इसके बारे में तो मत ही पूछो. In yesterday's polity class, when you will, there's another batch running parallel to it, parallel to this class. So they are a bit ahead of you. I will merge both the classes in the near future. So they are reading class 9th NCERT. I was teaching something to them and I had bookmarked a newspaper clipping कि मैं उसको lecture में दिखाऊंगा सबको. That was a very good clipping. When I opened that clipping in the class, it was censored. It was not there. The message was there that as per the government's saying, this article has been taken down. I was surprised. I kind of found this for the first time. The message was critical about the government, but actually my aim was not to criticize the government. The article has a good quote from. अच्छा वो जब आएंगे तो देखेंगे. So that's what censorship is. Live example of censorship you will see in the next class. If government thinks that something is not good for the society, for them, they can censor that. But censorship is not always bad. Like in case of movies, there are ratings, adult, universal, UF, all these ratings are there. Then a few months back, if you will be following the newspapers, there was a huge uproar about OTT platforms, that like Netflix, Amazon, and there are so many others. क्या क्या है? लड़का लोग तो देखता होगा, बताएगा कोई? So there are so many channels there who are just producing the adult contents. So there need to be a ban on that, and that is also considered as a censorship. So censorship is not always bad, but government can use that power of censorship in a wrong manner. One more power, one more benefit of media is that it sets the agenda. What do you want to discuss? So those of you who will be following the newspapers during the farmers' protest, you will be seeing that in Indian Express and The Hindu, the front pages used to be covered with what is happening in Delhi. So what they were doing, they were setting the agenda that country should discuss about this. At the same time, if you have read Dainik Jagran, Hindi edition, you will see that farmers' protest was somewhere in the corner, probably you will not even find. So neglecting the agenda. What is the important thing that should be discussed? So that's the work of media, to focus on the things which should be discussed. जब तक क्लास में 25 लोग नहीं बचेंगे ना, तब तक मैं पढ़ाता रहूंगा. Number is slightly slowly declining. So when it will reach to 25, 50% people will be out of the competition. Then I will stop this class. This is a very good example of history of soft drinks in India. You should actually follow it. Go and search about it. कि कैसे कैसे क्या software industry में बहुत politics हुई. The software नहीं, soft drinks की industry में. There's a lot of politics involved. By the way, I hope most of you have not even heard the name of this magazine, Down to Earth. Anybody who knows that Down to Earth is a part of your reading recommendations? That a UPSC aspirant is required to read Down to Earth? Not cover to cover, not page to page, but there are certain good articles in this, especially sociology students can find many relevant articles here. Similarly, there is another magazine called EPW, Economic and Political Weekly. In that also you will find some good sources. So students who are following PSIR or sociology, they can refer these two magazines. पूरा जाके ऐसा खरीद के पढ़ना मत शुरू कर देना. मैं तो पूरा पढ़ूंगा, सर ने बोल दिया है. I am the real follower of sir. You have to be very smart, pick and choose. If you are thinking about reading, I can even recommend you कि क्या पढ़ो कौन मत पढ़ो, but that's another thing. So what happened, that a report was there that the software drinks are not safe for human consumption. But these industries were paying a lot of money to the government. A lot of taxes were coming from them. And that's why government was trying to cover up the issue. And they said that no, they kind of try to put a censorship on the media in reporting this harmful effects of soft drinks. But Down to Earth kept publishing this news again and again, depth analysis, and because of that, finally government has to put a ban on soft drinks. They went back again after many times. When all the standards were met, they were allowed. Fashion shows are very popular with media. So they set the fashion trends too. What you are wearing, that's decided by media. There are several instances where media fail to focus on the issues. Like media never talk about drinking water problems. Media is talking about health, but even then most of the channels are more concerned about the toolkit. Which party is doing how much health? They're not talking about why health system has collapsed and what can be done to improve that healthcare system. So focus is failing. Media is failing us into focusing on the important issues. This is a very important newspaper, Khabar Lahariya. I'm leaving it for you. थोड़ा काम करो खुद से भी. Go and read about this. It's a local media source. बहुत मजेदार है, इसके बारे में पढ़ना. The origin of it and how they do it. It's very inspirational story and very innovative too. So that here your media ends. Now markets. See, there's nothing important in this chapter at all. All you know about how market works and how it doesn't. What is wholesale market, local market, what are malls? Nobody would be more experienced than you guys. So not much to discuss here. But I would like to discuss one thing here. In the SDG, oh sorry, in the SDG goals, as I said you earlier, one SDG goal is responsible consumption and production. Responsible consumption. This consumption is consumption of everything. Consumption of electricity, consumption of water, consumption of all kind of resources. That consumption should be responsible, and that responsibility is in our shoulders. How many dresses do you have? Do you actually need that many dresses? People are buying dresses even in this period of lockdown. The water that is spent on manufacturing one t-shirt is sufficient for the survival of one person all through his life. So you have to be responsible with your consumption. I'm not going more deeper into this, but I hope you will read more, understand more. As a person, you will try to evolve more. That's actually the purpose of this preparation. As when students start the preparation, I used to suggest them that no matter what, see, the chances of success in this exam is very, very less. About less than a percent, 1.1%, about 10 lakh people are thinking about, and 1,000 people will get selected. Even IAS, IPS is rarer than that. But if you are putting sincere interest into this, you are actually reading the things, you are trying to assimilate the things. As a person, you will evolve. Wherever you will be standing, people will show you, and people will show some regard to you. They will respect you for your knowledge. If you have really worked for it, result doesn't matter. So this is a part of this responsible consumption. Many ordinary people will never think about responsible consumption जैसा कुछ होता भी है क्या? Do we have to really worry about responsible consumption? But only when you will be, I said, this is, Abhi, you will, all of you will be tired. So this moral lecture will not enter in mind. I'm moving ahead. Similarly, these chapters also do not have anything special to say. One particular angle here is market and equality. You see, in markets, there is no equality. The producers are getting very less money. The farmers are getting very less money. The workers are in worse situations. So the meaning of democracy is also getting a fair wage to all the people. There are many cases. Recently, contractual workers all across the country are fighting for fair wages. They are doing the same work at a lesser price. Even Constitution says that everybody should be paid equally for equal amount of work. Chapter number 9, again struggle for equality. We have discussed this a lot. There are a few important things to discuss here, but I think most of you are very tired now. So we will take this in the next class, and along with that, we will continue chapter number 8. By any chance, can we take a session in between this week, just one class? All of you will be available some at some point in the night, 6 or after 7. Okay, I will post a I will post a voting there. So I will have, if it's a democracy class, so we should have a democracy. Yeah, after 7. Okay. So we will take one more class, and then in that class we will try to finish class 8 NCRT. Class 8 is actually very important. So those who are watching the recording, or if their friends are here, you should not miss this, because in class 8 you will actually start reading constitution. So actual polity will start. नहीं 3 घंटा नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा. On that day we will, at night we will take only 2 hours class. And somebody is asking what is a crackdown. Crackdown is cracking someone down. Crack it and down it. I will let you know the timing.